Hi and welcome back. I'm Rayanna Schnarr, and today we're going to be working through harmony in the body. So working off the same idea of harmony in life, we're going to be working through some challenges that we might encounter. Today we're going to be focusing on diet awareness. We'll be using the practice of Ayurveda through the yogic study for this, and picking back off of our niyamas, our ways of respecting ourselves. We'll be inviting purity into our practice. The idea of purity is to cleanse our bodies, our speech, and our thoughts. By purifying ourselves from the inside, we'll become a safe space for ourselves as well as others, to create a space to fully experience life and to come into our true selves. So we can't build and maintain a perfectly healthy self through just physical fitness alone or through just the mind alone. So we need to focus on what we put into our bodies, and that's the food that we eat. It has an enormous influence on us physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So let's just start with the idea of eating in general. What if we did not eat? What if we had our empty plates? That is the act of fasting. So in fasting, there's two basic reasons that someone would want to do this, not eat. The first is off of where our yogic idea is coming from, the development of willpower and spirituality. So for those on this route, fasting is not just foregoing one or two meals, but it's about everything else that comes with overcoming bad habits, negative qualities, and thoughts. It's the ability to restrain oneself physically and mentally from any unwanted activity. So this harmony with our thoughts that early yogis would practice fasting to reach is where they come to a point of complete self-will and concentration. The other aspect of fasting is for health reasons. So this is the physical purification of the body, so detoxing yourself, weight reduction, reduction of fatigue or any sleep disorders, and generally attaining a state of inner balance and harmony and knowing where to go from there. So what foods to add into your life that continue that feeling of harmony. There's an idea that if all of mankind lived as vegetarians and fasted one day a week, the hunger problems as well as many health problems would be resolved in the world. But we have to eat. So when should we eat? Eating when we're hungry and never when we're not hungry. So listening to our true nature, listening to the obedience of our true nature is listening to the obedience of God. And then you do not eat for sensation or taste alone. You eat for appetite. You eat only when your body is telling you that you are hungry, and you don't eat foods that you crave. You eat foods that create good sensations in the body. And this is the act of conscious eating. So being present and knowing that you can do the best of what you have now in every moment. So looking at the food in a mindful way, and being mindful during your meal times. So your food choices should be tailored to support you, and the basic factors to take into consideration are your lifestyle, your health, and your age. So your diet should come from a conscious place, being self-reflective, looking at how you eat, your habits around your body, mind, and soul when you eat, and becoming aware of how those choices affect you. So how do the yogis do it? Well, the yogis follow a specific diet. This is not something that we all have to do, but this is the yogic diet. They advocate for vegetarianism, veganism, because it follows the principle of purity and also of non-violence. So that's being balanced and in harmony with all other living things as well. It consists of eating foods which have qualities that increase energy and create balance in the mind and body, and eliminating all foods which reduce the vitality, the power, and energy of the person eating them. So we'll go over those practices now. I'll bring out some foods and we can look at how our Ayurvedic practice blends into everything. So we're back with foods, and we'll be focusing on three main categories through our Ayurvedic practices. And these are just categories of energy within our life, and these are our gunas. A guna is one of 3 tendencies of the mind, the body, and consciousness, are rashtic, tamas, and sattvic. These describe our behavior, thinking, health, and diet. As far as food, though, we'll talk about our sattvic foods, our balanced foods. So these are fresh fruits and vegetables, herbs, honeys, grains, nuts, seeds, anything that can be organically grown. Locally sourced, so from the region that you're in. It's unprocessed, no additives, and no preservatives. These foods are pure, life-giving, and they promote health, vitality, strength, and relaxation. They're easy to digest, and eating them slowly, chewing well, and savoring each bite is also considered sattvic. Our next is rajasic. So if you can imagine, it's active, energizing foods. So meats, fish, coffee, black teas, eggs, some spices, any flavors that are sour, bitter, dry, and salty. They are generally the overstimulating, and they promote excess energy. They can cause sleeplessness, anger, hyperactivity, restlessness of the mind, and eating in a hurry is also considered rajasic. So that's a tendency within that principle. And then over here, we have our tamastic. So these are like the dormant sleeping foods. They're anything that's stale, over cultivated, packaged, preserved, or anything deep fried. The benefits are neither good for the mind or the body, and they can be very difficult to digest. They can make you feel bloated or very lethargic. These foods can be compromising to the immune system, and overeating is also a tamastic tendency. So let's try eating together. So promoting good eating habits. So we'll use this apple as an example. Our first thing is chewing. So the key of chewing is to swallow one bite before going in for the next. Chewing is one of the most important parts of eating because it's breaking down and allowing you to not only appreciate and respect the food that you're eating, but it also helps in digestion. It's allowing you to gain the energy from the food and helping to control your weight, allowing you to feel fuller faster by taking your time in eating. That leads us into prioritizing time for yourself. So instead of eating on the go, it actually takes the average person only 7 minutes to scarf down a full meal. You want to be able to sit with your food. So take maybe even just 15 minutes to allow yourself to really feel the experience of eating. The next is digestion. So allowing that time to digest while you're eating, but also stimulating digestion after a meal by drinking warm tea or going for a walk, anything to energize the stomach. So your practice for this week is mindfully eating. So taking 5 painless tweaks and incorporating them into your diet. The first is choosing whole grains whenever possible. So instead of white rice, if the option is available for brown rice or canola, any kind of oats or rye, that would be the better choice. The next is eating a fruit instead of going for the juice. So eating an apple instead of drinking juice. The next, as far as drinking, is ditching fizzy drinks. So sodas, pops, anything that creates carbonation in the body. Next is switching to coconut oil whenever cooking, if possible. Coconut oil is very much better for you than vegetable oil, so it's always a better alternative. And lastly, it's trying to eat something raw every day. So that could be a fruit, a salad, nuts, or seeds. And that's all for Harmony of the Body. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the tendencies of the body through our food and how they affect us. Next week in Harmony of the Mind, we'll talk about our gunas, but we'll talk about them in a more physical sense, so how they show up in our physical practice of yoga. So I'll see you next time. Bye.